Welcome back. So today we are going to be starting the backyard stress test, if you will, for the HOKA Challenger ATR 8, a road and trail running shoe / walking shoe that can be used for all sorts of different purposes. And for what I'm going to be doing is using it for the next week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I don't know, long term here, to see how it works with the backyard duties, right? Chores, running around, walking, just dad stuff, trying to find a shoe that works for all these different things. So let's give it a go. Just got these on feet. They're super comfortable. I've actually been running around all day with them here, but making this intro now. So let's walk you through some of the stuff that I'm doing, yard chores and walking and just general being on the feet for several hours in varying conditions, right? Just today, Sunday, nice, hot, humid day. Got the kind of a merino wool sock going on here. The ventilation is okay. The ability for it to dry, because we did get kind of a wet foot there in the garden, is really nice. When kind of negotiating different varying terrains such as rocks and other things, the cushion does a really good job of absorbing that. But also at the same time, this compressed molded EVA does kind of accommodate inward squish, and does vary the kind of that level of the foot a little bit, both because it's soft, and also because it's a pretty thick slab of that foam there. So naturally, any kind of change at the base is going to be kind of exponential by the time that it reaches that foot, as far as the variation of degree and such. Okay, but as far as the side to side upper bit of the midfoot there, it's nice and it's not snug by any means, but it's not loosey goosey either, and it fits well. Okay, the toe box, and this is actually a little bit more roomy in my opinion than say the Speed Goat or the Mafate, and we can talk about those shoes later on as well. But yeah, just kind of giving this a test here. We're going to keep going here. Lots and lots more chores to do here. And I figured, since we're out here, we're on our feet, we're in our shoes, to maybe talk about that. The shoe needs to give protection, but obviously, how is it in the foot and on the feet? Over the long haul, are there numb toes? Is there any of that? Lots of room in the toe box here. Lots of cushion going on. A very comfortable shoe, but it's day one, so we'll keep going here. What's interesting is the front half and the back half of the shoe are entirely two different planets. You've got this horse-drawn buggy effect of the front of the shoe versus the back of the shoe, where it's not always congruent in terms of whatever happens to the front is going to happen to the back. It could be the durometer of the foam and how squishy it is, but whatever's going on towards the heel, does that. It might be wiggling around quite a bit, rather loose, maybe even a tiny bit of heel slippage, depending on the rotation and whatnot, and a secure fit towards the front. And then it flips, vice versa, where it's a little bit loose in the front and then nice and secure in the heel, depending. So that's why I think it's interesting, kind of talking about shoes in this regard. So it's not just linear, planar, walking, just one thing. Here you have all kinds of different opportunities for testing. So let us continue. An important point, going downhill, the arch support of this shoe does seem to fill in quite a bit. It's not the most highest arch support ever that I've ever felt, but this insert of the shoe is not super duper slippery, and the pitch of the shoe is not to the point that it's allowing those toes to plunge forward on that downhill. The upper does a good job in securing the thing, as well as the lockdown of the shoe, keeping the foot from sliding to and fro. It's not without movement, but it's not plunging in and causing discomfort of those toes. Something that I'm noticing, look at the inner aspect of the heel, say on that left shoe, and then on the outer side of the same shoe. See how the heel seems to pooch out a little bit more on that outside lateral aspect versus the medial aspect. And so when you come down and your foot heel lands and you're towards that middle, it like pulls you this way, but that, you know, outside there kind of collects that and keeps the foot itself, the heel, in line, which is kind of nice when you're walking along there. So if you have any of that, you know, instability or you're prone to it, the shoe does a good job in capturing it. It's not a stability shoe per se, but it does seem to be capturing a lot of that excess motion. So that's fun. So I don't know if this is one of their active heel frame shoes that HOKA is known for, but it definitely feels that way. Good job. Here's some more. This yard is not exactly flat. In fact, it's not flat at all. I'm like plundering along here, and you know, just thinking about how the shoe is just kind of keeping me safe without a ton of ankle roll, right? And here's like this like ditch, and we can kind of test the traction here. You know, I'm coming up, all that strain is going towards the back of the thing, back of the foot, the Achilles, and the traction is just hanging in there, doing a great job. And here's the same thing going down. Okay, I mentioned earlier that there was no you know, sliding forward of the foot per se, but this, you can definitely feel the toes kind of going forward in the shoe. But as far as like that traction goes, keeping you upright, it's good. I mean, I think about like when I'm over here, like, you know, trimming with the string trimmer, you know, kind of this, and then I'm, you know, to the side like that. There's no rolling of that foot, even though it's like very, very close to doing so. So something I would think about, you know, there's, you know, I don't think I have super weak ankles, but, you know, I also don't want to test the thing. So, you know, that's pretty sketchy. not the most unsafe thing, but traction good, cushion good. But as far as like some of these like super steep inclines, you know, it's I don't feel like as close to the earth as I'd like. But I suppose that's what we're doing with all this testing, right? So it could include that my heel did not seem to want to pop out of the shoe whenever I was going up that little incline. So that's fine. How does it fit? Well, this is a men's size 11, my true to size here. And here's my big toe. There's a spacing there, there's a spacing there, and the pinky toe is here. There's actually some decent room here. Good wide toe box here, big joint of the fifth toe, and then big joint of the first toe here. Again, it's not super duper tight. It does lay across the top of the foot. There's only just a little dimpling here towards the toes on the right, and then not so much on the left. The spacing of the laces is good. The length of the laces is good, and that's not including this runner's loop back here. The tongue does protrude very appropriately. It lines up here. It's got this nice little bit of padding here. It doesn't seem to want to deviate too much, but it does have a little bit of a dip going on towards the lateral side, which is pretty common for me as I do come down on the outside of my foot when midfoot striking or running, but not so much. Well, maybe there is a little bit outside rolling with me whenever I do step on my rear foot. Okay, but then again, you know, we're dealing with pretty uneven surfaces here too. So not all in all, not bad fit. Link for this shoe will be in the description throughout the little testing videos if you guys are interested in checking that out. If you were to so choose to do that, I would get a tiny commission. I really, really, really appreciate it. No pressure at all. Thanks. That's about it for the initial day of testing for the HOKA Challenger ATR number 8. We will keep this thing going. Comment down below if you guys have any questions or any other comments. Thank you so much. Like, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.